Yes, on behalf of IIT Madras, we warmly welcome all the delegates from TCS for this morning's program. I'd like to specially extend our heartfelt welcome to Mr. Anand Krishnan, CTO of TCS, as well as Mr. Raghu Ayaswamy, who is the SVP and Global Head of Internet of Things at TCS. So very warm welcome to you, sir. And warm welcome to the entire team from TCS as well, from all of us here at IIT Madras. I'm Padma, and I'm part of the Office of Institutional Advancement, and I'm very happy to be here with you and be your MC for this program. I now would like to request the delegates to come up on stage. I invite Professor Kamakoti, Director, IIT Madras, to please come and have a seat. I invite I also warmly welcome Mr. Anand Krishnan, CTO, TCS. I welcome Mr. Raghu Ayaswamy, SVP and Global Head. He's joining us. Okay, all right, he's joining us. I also welcome Professor Pratap Haridas to please come and have a seat. I now invite Professor Mahesh Panchagula, who is a Dean of Alumni and Corporate Relations at IIT Madras, to address the gathering.
Good morning, and let me extend my warm welcome to our friends from TCS. This is indeed an important and momentous occasion for us all, where we are getting ready to cement our partnership on a very important axis of engagement, where we are getting into an M.Tech program together in industrial artificial intelligence. IIT is a vast organization, just like TCS in our own sense, and we offer many different touch points to our industry partners. And several industry partners pick and choose the touch points that are of interest and benefit to them and move forward. In that broader gamut of things, TCS has been very different. TCS has been our most engaged partner, and I'll explain to you in a minute what that means. We have 6 axes of engagement that we have where industry partners work with us. The easiest is to hire our graduates, placement, or hire our students for internships. TCS does that routinely. The second is to work with our faculty on research projects on various topics of interest, where you have a team from TCS, a group of faculty from here together, drive a project against a timeline and deliverables. We see a lot of that already happening, not just on that scale, but on a scale of a jointly established process that drives this whole thing. So it is not just sporadic engagement of faculty, but a systematized approach to furthering research between the two organizations. The third is to offer courses jointly. So where TCS and IIT Madras together come together to offer courses for outsiders to come on board and benefit from our mutual experience. That could be something we'll come back to and talk about. Maybe we should grow on that axis a little more. There's always room for growth, even in the best of relationships. The fourth is what we are here to launch. This is not the first time we are doing this M.Tech in a joint M.Tech, which what we call a user-oriented program, UOP for short. This is not the first time we are doing a UOP. Anand was kind enough to point me to an older occasion in 2000, when we launched what was probably the first UOP at IIT Madras at that time. So our relationships on TCS employees being trained by IITM faculty goes back all the way to 2000, almost 20 years ago. And we are here to renew that vow again today. The fifth is where we work with our faculty members being on advisory boards and embedded sort of in your processes. And I see a lot of that also happening with TCS, where our faculty members are either serving on sabbatical or on various internal committees of TCS. And the sixth and sort of the axis that is most dear to me is where we come together to do something that is socially impactful. through the TCS CSR programs and through other programs where we can together take the message that we are here to do more than just profit and educate. We are here to do more for our society. Two of the most privileged organizations in India, I must say, need to come together a lot more on that sixth axis and do more for the society that has given us this privilege. Your customer base and our stakeholder base is pretty much the whole country of India today, and we have a duty to pay our due back to them. So I think I'm very happy to see this engagement go deep in the direction of creating this user-oriented program, which is not only going to train cohorts of TCS employees and personnel to become more relevant to your customers, but also to provide our students a richer classroom experience and our faculty members something to learn from as well. With those words, I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and I look forward to the morning.
Thank you very much, Professor Mahesh. As Professor shared, we definitely look forward to deepening our engagement with TCS on all the various levels, especially on the CSR front as well. I warmly welcome Mr. Raghu to the stage. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning. I would now like to invite Mr. Anant Krishnan, CTO of TCS, to please come and address the gathering.
Thank you. Director, Professor Kamakoti, Dean, Professor Haridas, Mahesh, thank you for all those nice remarks. Raghu, thank you for being here. Ravi, there's so many friends from IIT Madras here, and of course, TCS colleagues, Raghu and his team, Satya and Venkatesh from our lab in IIT Madras Research Park, which is first of its kind, and now it's being replicated. I think it's a momentous occasion for TCS and IIT Madras to get together to launch yet another dimension of our relationship, and Mahesh summarized it beautifully. I happened to be there at that 2000 inauguration. I think it was mid-2000, June or July of 2000, when the UOP in computational engineering was launched. I think Professor Kamakoti, you were one of the faculty of that program, first faculty of that program. So we all have some roots back into that era as well. But at that time, while we had a long relationship from the academic perspective, had a hiring perspective, and so on, the maturity of both TCS and IIT Madras, the way Professor Mahesh just articulated, was just evolving. We were discovering things as we went, and we were trying to see how we can help each other on the journey. But if I now stand in 2022, and if I have to look forward instead of backwards, I'll just give you a glimpse of what and how TCS is approaching this whole academic collaboration dimension. Today, TCS is in a very different position in the global stage. The first thing is that there is a clear opportunity in front of organizations like us and the industry that we are in, that computing and very solid science-based engineering is going to embed itself in every part of human life in the coming decades. It's not just in the very obvious areas where computing is playing a role today in terms of adoption, but in industry, in health, in sustainability, in every industrial undertaking worldwide. There is going to be a heavy involvement of computing technologies, to the extent that this interdisciplinary focus is going to far outshadow what might be seen as pure ICT industries. That's the first ground truth that I'd like all of us to internalize. While there are some industries which are facing the mass market, where adoption is very immediate and very tangible. And by that, I mean, and especially in the days of the pandemic, the e-commerce market, buying something from home, or even ordering food or groceries, or getting your medical tests done at home. All of these seem very intuitive, but if you just step back 5 years or even 10 years back, these were impossible to do. So those are what I would call the first wave of technologies which will impact us in significant ways, and are already impacting us in significant ways. Financial services, the way we are now getting used to transacting on the phone, not just for bank accounts or insurance policies and so on, but for payments. Buying vegetables in the market doesn't require you to carry cash anymore, and the smallest of vendors is now able to offer us a very easy to use digital payment ecosystem. That is another area which is again becoming extremely visible. But if you start going deeper beyond these business to consumer industries, the industrial world is now adopting the full potential of computing technologies. The industrial world has been using computing technologies. In fact, when I studied at IIT Delhi now 37 years ago, there used to be a course in CAD/CAM and so on, which used to be a curiosity course for those of us who are computer science people, just to say, what are these fellows doing? And we used to be taught to use the basic packages. I think CADAM was quite popular in the early 80s and so on, and it was a curiosity. And some industries would adopt some form of design tools, some form of computer integrated manufacturing. They were relatively very advanced topics in that era. But today, if we look at the way Industry 4.0 is being adopted in every form of industry, process manufacturing, digital manufacturing, oil and gas, and the operational side, in the design side, material side, and so on, I think it's quite amazing. But if we extrapolate forward into the future, the role of these computing technologies in every aspect of the materials to finished products, to the way the products will be used in the field, business models in which those products will be so-called servitized. That means they'll be consumed as a service, not so much as a physical product, is going to further change the way in which the whole industrial landscape will look like in the next decade, maybe even a few decades. And finally, there is the grand challenge of decarbonizing many of these industries. There are several industries today which have enormous fundamental challenges in the way they are set up. Steel, construction, aerospace, and so on. These are the so-called hard to abate industries, where fundamental research has to be done, not to at the physics and chemistry level. Everybody recognizes that it is possible to make steel with hydrogen. But how do you take somebody who has invested $20 billion in a new blast furnace to give up that investment and suddenly switch to hydrogen-based steel making? Those kind of very practical problems will have to be solved by us in the next 10 years. And the same thing could be said for concrete. The same thing could be said for jet engines. The same could, so many industries are hard to abate today. And that is where I think computation, and especially research-based computation, higher orders of capability, where the engineers have to come together with the computer scientists. Just like in biology, we have revolutionized many things, that we are able to now produce a vaccine using a range of tools, including computational tools, in a matter of a year, and take it through the entire process of not just making the vaccine, but certifying it and then delivering it to billions of people worldwide. That sort of impact is where industrial use of computing is going to make an impact. And this course will be as path-breaking as our earlier computational engineering course, which started 20 years ago. And even now, TCS colleagues are taking advantage of this course. So this is the kind of example that TCS and IIT Madras would like to set for the world at large. But computing is not just about ordering something on a phone, but it will help us solve much deeper problems at the boundary of science and engineering. That's why we come to world-class institutions like IIT Madras. And lastly, I'd also like to emphasize that the relationship is now at a different stage. Our lab at IIT Madras Research Park has been active for the last nearly 14 years now, and we are extremely happy with it. And we are replicating this across all the IIT research parks which are coming up in different IITs. So we are keeping our side of the equation live and really looking forward to decades of continued collaboration between TCS and IIT Madras. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. The feeling of looking forward to more such impactful collaborations is mutual. Truly, we do live in a world where computation and technology is redefining our everyday realities, and so in that sense, as you shared, it definitely is a very exciting collaboration for us too. I now invite Professor Pratap Haridas, Dean of Academic Courses, to please address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. Dignitaries on the stage, Mr. Anandakrishnan, Mr. Raghu Ayaswamy, Director, Professor Kamakoti, my colleagues, and a lot of our friends from TCS. It's really a very pleasant occasion to be here on the launch of this UOP program. From the IIT Madras perspective, it has been our focus for several years, of course, to give a high quality education to people who reach out or make it to this institute. But it is also increasingly our focus to reach outward and to ensure that, the needs of both the public, the industry, and anyone else who, desires a high quality educational experience is able to access it. So the user-oriented programs have been designed with this perspective in mind, knowing fully well that industry partners are extremely busy with whatever is their immediate product and goal. And so they often don't have the kind of time and flexibility that a full-time student might have. So we have been quite conscious of that, and we have made these user-oriented programs specifically to enable this need for education to be satisfied while still enabling the participants to meet their industry goals and so on. So particularly more so, we have embraced this online medium. We believe that we have to stay with the times. In fact, we have to stay ahead of the times, and we have been very comfortable and happy to embrace this medium. We think particularly in the Indian scenario where demand is extremely high and high quality supply is very limited, this is a beautiful opportunity to actually bridge the gap. And so we have enabled our user-oriented programs to be operated in a live web enabled mode. And this really gives us the best experience possible. The industry participants can access our faculty live. They can ask questions. They can participate just the way they would in a classroom. But at the same time, they don't have to travel, take several weeks off, several months off, or even the day off to come to our, to have this educational experience. They can do so right from their workplace. And this is really a very nice opportunity to do that. I mean, and in fact, Mahesh mentioned all the various touch points through which we have worked with TCS. In fact, for our web-enabled education, TCS has been a very strong partner. We have accomplished a lot in reaching out to, I would say, millions of students across India and even internationally with the help of TCS ION. So that has been also another place where we have sort of worked with TCS to accomplish something that is quite unique in the world. I mean, it is not something that is just, typically we think of these new arenas that are breached, so to speak, only in the context of some foreign entity having done it, and then we are trying to do a catch-up of it. That is how traditionally, at least in the last, maybe 30, 40 years, that's how our approach has been. But I'm very happy to share that this is one such instance where we are miles ahead of anybody out there internationally. There is no institute anywhere internationally which has these kinds of collaborations through which it's able to reach out to millions of students, not just in some quantity kind of way, but with a lot of quality behind it. The whole experience is a high quality experience. It's not simply, if you put something on the internet and in fact, you don't even have to go very far. You put something on your phone millions of people can see. But that's not just the whole educational experience. It's much more involved, much more deep, and we are able to do that. And we are quite ahead of the game in doing this. We are very happy that we are in this position, and I would strongly believe that we will build on it. So this program, once again, is a very nice example of this ability to reach out. I'm so thrilled that we are here today, and I hope all the participants and all the users of this program are great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. I think the impact of such a program like this will be known only in the days to come, as our world is increasingly getting digital, but convenience and competence coming together on the same platform, it's going to be an irresistible combination. Thank you, sir. I now welcome Mr. Raghu Ayaswamy, SVP and Global Head, IOTDE, to address the gathering.
Professor Kamakoti, Director IIT, Professor Haridas, Dean Academic Courses, Anand Krishnan, TCS CTO, dear professors, students, and TCS colleagues who have assembled here. Very good morning to all of you. My sincere apologies for joining this meeting a bit late. This is a very momentous occasion in the relationship between IIT Madras and TCS in concluding this program for user-oriented program on industrial AI. I think we have come a very long way in terms of our collaboration with IIT. As Anant mentioned, I still remember the days we were trying to construct the program for computational engineering, advanced computational engineering lab and the curriculum. I still remember the great enthusiasm of Professor C.S. Krishnamurthy and Har Prasad and the team. And he was actually, Professor Krishnamurthy was like a driving force behind us, actually. He was always bubbling with enthusiasm and let's do it, and this is what we can do. And I think that level of academic enthusiasm, when combined with the industrial interest, really provides us a great forum to develop new things, path-breaking things for the future. So this industrial analytics and industrial AI has become very relevant and very important for the future. As Anant mentioned, it's not only for the consumer industries, but also for the industrial setting. With the adoption of IoT, Internet of Things, and the ability for us to have sensors and various mechanisms to secure feedback from the various equipment, various plant and automation, the power of data and the power of ability to make decisions have become very important. I still remember I was in IIT way back 35 years ago when we were doing the masters in thermal turbo machines program under Prithviraj. We used to have an IBM machine, and we used to have that punch cards. So we had to, for the Fortran programs, we need to do the punch cards, and invariably that the tape on that machine will have run out of ink, actually. So I don't know what statement is there on that card. So we would have assembled a 500 card program deck, but you don't know what statement is there in that, because that no one would replace those cartridges for the ink. So there is no statement. So people used to hold it in the this like this. Oh, this is actually the iteration starts I equal to I plus 1 and all of that. They used to read the statement. That's the level of computing. By the time you put that VAT5 compiler will give the results only next day, and then you assemble it, and then you kind of make program. But we did those days also the same finite element computations and matrix triangularization, all of that. But today, the context is how compute has changed. So if people have lived through this 2-3 decades, can know the amount of compute power that is available on in our desktops, in our handhelds, and many devices is simply outstanding or astounding, actually. So the compute the compute in terms of its performance, and it will change for the next decade also, is going to fundamentally give us an ability to model the physical behavior of systems, subsystems in much more manner where we have not even comprehended this in the past. So when you look at the industrial 4.0 setting today, we are talking about assets, the machines that are performing, the processes that we manage, and the employees and the workers who are managing those factories. Today, we can actually construct a very complex AI model, for example, to analyze potential diagnostics of a huge machine and collect the data over a period of time and provide real-time insights to those people. They can know, for example, in a 3-week time, there could be an impending failure. We developed a solution along with CTO Lab, Anand's team. It's called cognitive plant optimization. And here we are actually getting data how the plant have been operated for the last 5 to 6 months or even 1 year. We are also getting how the process parameters are operating on the automation systems like PLCs and various automation. We are also gathering data from the source designs, the P&IDs, process designs. All of that are fused together and creating an ontology of information. And this information is kind of overlaid on top of real-time data so that you can exactly tell the plant operator what he should do or what he should actually prepare for in terms of performance. Today in the industry, if I speak from what I'm seeing from the various industries, from manufacturing, discrete, process to automotive and across industries, this adoption of the IoT-based sensor information, overlaying that on top of cloud and the data and creating that intelligent or AI analytics is a very, very important topic. And many people use this word called digital twin. It's sometimes I feel it's also grossly abused that everybody picks up this term digital twin, but digital twin essentially is actually industrial context. Industrial context, how you can really model a process, model a asset or an equipment with data, along with the physics, along with the science associated with that particular process or a particular asset, and provide a real-time intelligence information for an operator, or even for not even an operator. You can actually take the process to the next level. We call that as autonomous kind of systems. So why this cooperation with IIT is important now is very, very important, pertinent question for us to answer. There is a lot of work on data science, data analytics. People talk about it because there are a lot of courses are being offered in the ecosystem, in the educational ecosystem. But that's not what we are talking here. In the industrial analytics, it is about how we can combine the physics that is behind all of these equipment and factories and processes, and combine that with the power of compute and data science. How do we really merge that? On one hand, I say sometimes we find that people with a lot of data science and pure data expertise. On the other, on the left side, you will find people with a lot of industrial expertise and closed form equations and calculations. How do we really combine that to create a benefit or no outcome for industries is the core objective of this program. And we want to get that expertise, and it obviously it will be multidisciplinary from computer science, from chemical and various other engineering departments to put this together. And that's what we are experimenting here. And I am 100% sure it will be path-breaking, and it will be a very leading thought process. These are all the things IIT can only do, TCS is the leading organization to think if we put the path, probably there will be lot more people will be following, and many other institutions can actually adopt this kind of thought process and curriculum for teaching students, because we need to expand our people with this kind of knowledge in the supply chain pool also, because as business grows, we need to hire people with that kind of talent from the market itself. So our program with the advanced computational engineering has been phenomenally successful. I was involved in earlier 2000 also, and more than 15-16 batches have passed out through that program. I'm sure this program also will be extremely successful, and it will redefine the way we are looking at industrial analytics, and it will provide us the path in terms of bringing the compute power, technology, and the physics behind it to solve very complex programs. We are solving already huge number of problems in combustion, in a boiler. In Japan, we have worked with creating the digital twin, air filters with a company called Donaldson in US. A lot of predictive maintenance, asset management kind of problems. Whole lot of industrial context we can bring. I think with the combination of the expertise and the guidance of the academic faculty in IIT, I think we will make this program very successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Raghu. That was a very engaging speech from your side, taking us through the journey of computing and then onto what can be the infinite possibilities when you have a marriage between experience and expertise, and the kind that's happening here now with TCS and IIT Madras. I now warmly welcome Dr. Raghu Rangaswamy, Dean Global Engagement, to speak a few words.
Thanks for being here. I just want to thank Professor K. Ramurthy first, if he's here. He brought the TCS team to my office one day, and all of this started from that. And not only that, in IIT, there is a process to put these courses together. Not an easy one sometimes. So we go through multiple departmental consultative committees, and particularly interdisciplinary courses are quite a challenge. So I've been at many DCCs and failed sometimes, succeeded sometimes, and Ramurthy has been there all the time to help me with this. So I want to thank him first. The second thing that I actually wanted to say was about this course itself. So this is a course on AI where we have theory, and also as Mr. Raghu mentioned, there will be quite a bit of focus on actually applications and industrial applications of AI. And in fact, AI in manufacturing is not an easy topic. There are multiple reasons for this. This is not the place to discuss that. But this course hopefully will teach people how to think about AI and integrating first principles with AI and so on. So that's as far as the course is concerned. I just wanted to share with you one overarching thought, and I've discussed this with Mahesh before and so on. About 20, 30 years back, you could go to college, do a chemical engineering, and reasonably hope to be a chemical engineer for the rest of your life without ever reskilling yourself. And then you will be fine. You could be an accountant, you could be a mechanical engineer and so on. But things have completely changed, right? So you need to keep changing what you learn. And what has happened in the last decade is going to get worse in some sense, because you got to reskill, I think, in about every 3 years or 4 years. So in that sense, I think we should start reimagining institutions, not as places where you come in, get a degree for 4 years and go away. I would rather think of an institution as a club that you join. Okay, and this is like the club in Friends. I don't know how many of you are fans of this show. It's very difficult to get out of that club, right? So if you have a club where you can come back anytime you want to reskill. Okay, so you take a course, you graduate, but you're not out of the club. You don't become an alumni. You're a complete part of the club. And as new things come out, the club should have new equipment, new courses that you come and reskill with. So I would really think of an institute as a club where you have lifelong membership. That's one important point. And the second important point why I am here is this club has also become global. Because of COVID, with the hybrid courses and so on, you can now reach out with your course to anywhere in the world. So this is a global club that you participate in, and then you find the best courses that you have. So you join as many clubs as you want. You might want to join an MIT club, IIT club, doesn't matter, but keep learning. So that's the main idea, and I'm hoping, it's not a hope, it's going to happen. Things are going to move in that direction. And many of these courses are all steps in that direction. I think right steps in that direction. And hopefully you'll see many more of these. And I hope IIT Madras is a beacon for delivering this kind of knowledge. And we have to keep upskilling ourselves, faculty, learning new fields and be able to impart that knowledge to industry and so on. So I once again thank you all for being here. And I hope this course is a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Raghu. I think what he has said is so true for all of us, right? Most of us in this room also are in professions today that probably didn't exist when we graduated out of school or college. So thank you, Professor, for that. We will now move on to one of the key components, parts of this program, the signing of the MoU. So I would request Professor Pratap and Mr. Raghu to sign on their folders that's kept in front of them. And upon signing, you could exchange it and then hold it up for a picture. I request Professor and Mr. Raghu to, please arise and hold it up. So we have just rewritten history this morning in this one moment. I warmly welcome our Director of IIT Madras, Professor Kamakoti, to address the gathering.
Very good morning, Anand, Mr. Raghu. With TCS, we have done a lot of things first in the time, right? The computational engineering course. So I just got appointed as the assistant professor in IIT Madras. Professor CSK called me. Before the CS department assigns you a course, I'm assigning you high performance computing. And that actually, put that interdisciplinary aspect. I was so happy that as a computer scientist, I'm teaching in a civil engineering department. Okay, that was a very nice feel. The next first thing that we did was TCS ION. I still remember in Professor Anand's room, the entire TCS ION team. It was not called ION, and we were just mentioning what would be the challenge. Sir, 1.5 lakh computer has to work for 3 hours without a problem in this country, so we can conduct exams online. So that was our challenge here. And last couple of months before, when I went for the gate to a gate center, the whole thing was just one small laptop, which you now call as a server, and it was managing the entire show. And I also learned that you are now getting out with a small device which can replace the desktop, so that this program can be done. You can go to a chatram, put all these systems, and then run the exam and come back. It's like conducting marriage. I think that's where we have reached. I think that is also first of its kind. The entire NPTEL program today would have not been as successful without TCS ION, and that is something we are very proud that we have associated ourselves, and that's a big thing that we have achieved. In 2005, when we conceived of NPTEL, never did we know that 2020 there will be a corona, but every student today who had a doubt in engineering came to NPTEL, and the sustaining NPTEL, because many colleges said that they are allowing the students to credit, and they would have allowed the students to credit only when we have a proctored examination, and that was where TCS played a very important role. And on our Web M.Tech program also, though TCS is not, we're very happy that you are starting. The success of the Web M.Tech program again depended on the ION, because the examinations were conducted. I think now we have around 20 companies with 600 students, and 80 students has graduated in the last convocation. We want to make it 400 students per year and make it to 1,000 students in the next 5 years. So that's where we are. And specifically on the skilling. So we have been doing a lot of skilling courses. Professor Mangal Sundar, after his avatar in NPTEL, now is running the Digital Skills Academy here. We now have 17 courses and 1,200 college students and industry professionals have registered. And that also we are trying to scale up. So this outreach is very, very important for us. We want to make IIT Madras an institute for all, not just for people who clear JEE alone or GATE alone. And this effort, we are now expanding. The industry M.Tech, web-oriented M.Tech is also one such effort. And I'm sure the topic that we have selected has come at the right time. We have all the great AI experts here and great AI practitioners in your institute and in your organization. And as Raghu mentioned, so much of data you're collecting, I think, and this has to be put into good use. And I'm sure this industrial AI will be a great success. Thank you very much. And this is again the first, and I also forgot the other first thing is we are one among the first customers in IIT MRP, first of its kind lab there. So, so let us do many more things as first. And with this, again, congratulate the entire team here, both the teams for bringing up this program. I think it will be a trendsetter. And wish to see many more programs, as Raghu now said, ADAS, EV, 5G, so many skill programs we have. So we like to see more and more participation. I just want to see, I want to reach a level where I just enter Siruseri. Wherever I see, I want to see our students. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. And I think with such powerful collaborations like this, that day is not too far where you're going to see a lot of IITMs and TCS supported students across Siruseri. I now would like to request our director to hand over a few mementos from IIT Madras to our TCS delegates on stage. Priya, please. So we now come to the end of our program. And when we had discussed with the TCS team saying that, IIT Madras will do the vote of thanks at this point, the team were like, no, we will do the vote of thanks. So, so we're going to have TCS team coming forward to do the vote of thanks this morning. I warmly welcome Mr. Selva Kumar. Oh, yes. Please, sir.
Good morning to all. First of all, I'd like to thank the dignitaries on the dais, Mr. Kamakoti and Mr. Raghaveswamy and Mahesh, Mr. Mahesh and Mr. CTO of TCS for their time to come over here, as well as the people who have been here, their valuable time to come to this particular event, from the professors from the IITs, as well as the people from TCS colleagues and people who have been there in online also. So it's a great pleasure. I think, first of all, I'd like to have some kind of give a vote of thanks to some of the key people making this journey to possible. So I think in convincing and recognizing there is the industry AI is a new skill has become needed for the industry to create the deep value to the industry. That is now what Prabhu has been, Anant has been talked about it, the decarbonization perspective. And to have these things taken a proactive steps and say that what we can do with IITs and how do we leverage our ecosystems. I think I'd like to be thanked from their side to be recognizing and trying to put the thing. And I'm also extremely thankful to the professors in IITs, especially the leadership, and trying to convince this program, this is something is possible, that we can make it for industry specific. We could be able to address the needs of the specific challenges what the industry has been facing it out. I think in constructing this whole thing, and a lot of things we have been trying to do in this one is new, especially part-time and as well as online, and the kind of a confidence what you have been shown that things what has been possible today, so that associate who have been engaged in the customer. They know the problem, what they've been trying to solve, as well as we can able to tap that knowledge and gain knowledge, engineering knowledge from IITs, so that we can able to make this particular course to be successful. They think there's a lot of effort from your side on this one. I'm greatly thankful. And also, I like to be thankful for the people who enable the things, some of the teams like from marketing and legal, to make this agreement, put it out in a formal way, and see that it has been getting implemented. I think that's a great work they have been done. And I also like to be thank some of the key people involved with me, like Ram Kumar and Swami Das, some of the key people, and Java, who will be making this guidance, how to be structure it out. There's something in when we are doing this particular thing with online, as well as kind of a things in the part time. What are things we need to take care of it so that we have a good quality that we have been giving to the people, as well as we are making them something that what is a kind of a problem we have been trying to solve it out. I think it's a great things that have been there. So I like to once again thanks all the people for their valuable time and guidance and support. So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. A heartfelt thanks to the TCS team as well as the organizing team and the delegates on stage. We also have a high tea that's organized diagonally opposite, the annex hall. We invite each one of you and sirs also from the stage to please join us after this program. Thank you.